Jets and the Chargers tonight on Monday Night Football on ABC and ESPN, and calling the play-by-play, the wondrously talented and handsome Joe Buck. Hey, Joe, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you guys today?
Good. I've got the big question for you. You and your wife are usually you're in the same city for Monday Night Football. What do you do with the kids?
Oh God, I knew I forgot something. We have a nanny delivered directly from God.
Really?
So she's been with us from day one, and we use her. We don't, like, when we're home, and it's not my intention or Michelle's intention to have other people raise our kids, but when it's time to go to work, we got to go to work. So we will leave either Saturday. I left Friday this week because it's New York. Saturday or Sunday, and come back late Monday night or Tuesday. And Brenda is her name, from Eureka, Missouri, is there to catch all things Blake and Wyatt.
Do they watch the game?
They do. We usually both get a video whether it's mid-show for Michelle, mid-first quarter for me, that they're in front of the TV cheering for both of us. So it's very cute. I've got one of my two daughters going to the game tonight. The other one will be watching. So it's a family affair when we show up for Monday Night Football.
I love it.
How old are the twins now?
They're 5.5.
All right, so mine are going to be 6 in a month. So and you went through it with your older kids, but when is the adjustment going to come when they realize that not every one of their kids' fathers goes to games for free and gets paid to do it, and is on television and radio and all that?
I know. I mean, I must have been the dumbest kid ever, because I remember my mom telling me a story when I was little and I saw my dad on TV. I went up to the side of the TV and was like banging on it, like, get him out of it. Like that. That's how I challenged I was as a kid. And I don't know when that clicked in for me. I think it's when all my friends were begging to come to my house to hear Jack Buck, say, pass the potatoes or something to him during dinner. And I would say maybe 7 or 8. I think that starts to click in, but definitely not at 5 or 5.5. They do not understand that their friend Anthony's dad is not also somewhere else doing a game on TV in the NFL tonight.
All right, so obviously we've covered the important stuff, now the mundane stuff. Have you figured out what the deal is with the Chargers? Because the talent, Joe, seems so much more than what we see on the field.
Yeah, they are a little confusing, and they brought in Brandon Staley from his days with the Rams, and he comes out of the Vic Fangio school of coordinating defenses, and their defense has been not good at all, and they've had a tough time defending the pass. It's interesting to see what kind of a night Zach Wilson's going to have tonight against that defense and that pass defense. You add to that they do have 3 rushers that are really good that can come after this makeshift offensive line for the Jets. I have no feel for how this game is going to unfold tonight at all. And I think specifically to the Chargers, they've got an offensive line. They've got a good back in Eckler. They've got 2 decent backups behind him. They've got 2 tight ends that are legit threats to catch the ball down the field. They have Keenan Allen. They had Josh Palmer before he got hurt coming into this week. He got hurt against the Bears. They went Quentin Johnston, their first-round pick, a 6'4" receiver. And I don't know if I mentioned the offensive line or not, but it's a good offensive line with, high draft picks spent on the left side of the offensive line and a 3rd-round pick on the right tackle. And a quarterback that can light it up and is a big-bodied guy that can run. So I don't know. I don't know why it doesn't translate. He is exactly Herbert. And I know our friend Phil Mushnick does not believe in quarterback wins and losses, but somebody gets credit for him. He's 28-28. He's a 500 quarterback. They blew a big lead in the playoffs. I don't know. I have no answer for that other than it should be better than it is.
Now, we wear out the Bill Parcells quote, "You are what your record says you are." If the Jets win tonight, they're 5-3. They're a half game out of first place. Now, let's say they win the way they've kind of won these last 3, where they They get by. They do what they can to win the game. Is it just, hey, my record says I'm in line for the division, but does your heart and your head tell you that that's even feasible, that the Jets can win this division?
Yeah, it's a tough one because they've won 3 in a row, but they've had 3 offensive touchdowns during that stretch. I just rewatched their game against the Giants, and, it wasn't pretty any way you look at it except for the last minute. And, there's a lot to like. I mean, they can continue to win. They can win tonight with defense and special teams. And I actually think if I'm going to give an edge anywhere, that would be the edge that I would go in talking about when you look at the overall picture of the game. But at some point, it has to get better on offense. And I think these guys, when we talk to Coach Saleh, he doesn't want to come off making excuses, but it's legitimate when you've started an offensive line that's had this many moving parts, and it was suspect to come in at the beginning of the season. I think the funny question or the interesting question is to wonder how Aaron Rodgers at 39 years old would be behind this offensive line. I think he'd be challenged to put together consistent drives and look like the Aaron Rodgers that we're used to seeing. So I'm not pinning this all on Zach, but at some point it has to click in. They're thin at wide receiver. Garrett Wilson is all-world as a human and as a receiver. But after him, with Lazard questionable with a knee as of yesterday, there's not much going on the outside. The tight ends, are good, but not the typical tight end threat that you see with a Dallas Goedert or even a Jake Ferguson, a rookie with the Cowboys. It's not that kind of look. So I don't know where the completions go if a defense can, just look at 17, take him out of the game, or limit him, and then, let the rest try to beat you. I think that's a tall task.
Talking with Joe Buck, calling Monday Night Football tonight on ABC and ESPN. I'm curious, in talking with Troy, even off the air, Joe, what's his take on Zach Wilson? What does he think is the issue there?
Yeah, I think he's Troy right now, and this is me answering for him, but I'm around him a lot. We talk a lot about these teams, and I think Zach falls into the category of guys that came in that have a tougher time reading defenses and maybe didn't have to do a lot of that in college. So it's a little bit, this isn't just Zach, this is across the league, where, you're teaching guys, we talked about it with Nathaniel Hackett 2 days ago, that you get some of these young guys and you're teaching them how to run a huddle. They've never huddled. And then, getting under center, some guys have never taken snaps. And now there's such a limited amount of playing time and practice time these guys get because of the collective bargaining agreement that you're starting way behind where a lot of these quarterbacks used to start. Reading defenses, finding where the voids are in a zone and what have you. We've seen Zach at his best, kind of off schedule, running around, making plays. He can use his legs. But as far as dropping back, mechanically looking through a defense, knowing where he probably should go pre-snap, I think he's still learning all that stuff. I think he's got the right attitude. I don't sense any bend in him. I don't sense any wavering in his confidence when we talked with him. I think he is still a very confident quarterback, and I think that says a lot for a guy that's been through what he's been through since being the number 2 overall pick. But I think it's more of that, and it's not just Zach Wilson. It's a lot of the young guys. They either, it clicks in quicker for some than it does for others, and I think Zach, he'll still working through some of that stuff. But again, under heavy pressure with an offensive line that, because of injuries, just right now isn't good enough.
I brought this up to Coach Saleh last week. It seems like he thrives when he's not given a chance. And when he's given a chance, that's when the pressure kind of sits in. Down 17-0 against Kansas City, fights back, and then they tie it at 20, and then the scoring stops. They win against Buffalo, and nobody expected them to after they lose their starting quarterback. And even in the game on Sunday that you unfortunately had to watch a second time, John, I really feel bad that you had to do that. What chance do they have after the Giants gave them the ball up, and he has 2 of the best passes in the game? So I'm not trying to play pop psychologist, but it seems like when he's given no chance, that's when he seems to play at his best.
Which I think, it has to be considered a positive. I think, even though he's been getting run around and beat down during the course of a game in the early part of his career, I think he still keeps coming back, and he doesn't quit on games. So, they're paid to play and they're paid to not quit on games. I get it. But they're also humans, and I think that, that side of him, there's a lot of good there. So I don't disagree with you, and I think going into this game, you look at it and you go, well, the Chargers played their best game last Sunday night against Chicago. They're coming in against a team that scraped it together at the end of the game and somehow managed to win. Like Lazard said, we won, and I don't even know how. But, I still think they come into this game with a great chance to walk out of here 5-3. And like you said, 5-3 is 5-3. And I think Saleh's a good rallier around that kind of stuff. So to write them off, I think, is a mistake. We all bought in early last year, and then we know how the season ended. So maybe it's the reverse this year, and then they start getting something going offensively, and maybe the line settles down. They get Dwayne Brown back next week. They can start to kind of move the pieces back where they should be, and that's what you have to hope for, especially if you're Zach Wilson.
Did you, with last night's game, Cincinnati and Buffalo, do you think we're getting a realistic look at who those two teams will be at the end of the year? Or you think at some point here Buffalo starts to be Buffalo?
Meaning, I think you're seeing the best that Cincinnati can be, and I think they have the ability. Their quarterback is off the charts, and Joe Burrow's completing passes since week 5 at 76%, and they have the ability, with the amount of talent they have at wide receiver. Look at the difference there between them and the Jets. They're just so deep that I think they can make drives look, it's precise. It looks easy. I still scratch my head on Josh Allen. I think the minute you get carried away with he's got every intangible. He's tough. He's big. He can run. He can throw it a mile, all that stuff. And then you'll see an interception that makes you go, what in the world was that? And we saw week 1 here, and I think you saw one last night out to Josh's left that just kind of defied explanation. So I still have to see it from the Bills, and they had that chance, and they blew it in that divisional game against Kansas City with 13 seconds left, and who knows where they were headed if they get out of Kansas City with a win that night, but they didn't. And so I still think they have a lot to prove, and because he's Josh Allen, I think the spotlight in on that team falls right onto him.
Before I let you go, Joe, are you hungrily guzzling the Kool-Aid like Mike Greenberg is, that Aaron Rodgers is coming back this year?
I think the odds are against it. So the answer is I'm guzzle. What do you say, guzzling?
Hungrily guzzling.
I'm not guzzling any Kool-Aid. Yeah, no, I'm not. I think you're a long way away, and I'm not putting limits on anybody, especially a man who believes in intention and all the stuff that he talks about. But I'm not. We're a long way away from having to move suddenly, pushing off. It's his left, so I would think that's a good thing, as opposed to the right Achilles. But I think we're a long way away from seeing him being able to move laterally, have a 300-pound guy land on him, being pushed awkwardly against that tendon. And I get the sense from the Jets that there's a chance. I think they're being honest about it. There's a chance, but I think the chances are more that he doesn't compared to that he does.
Did you watch a second of the World Series?
I can honestly answer that question in the affirmative. Yes, I watched a second of the World Series.
Just 1 second. Was it a good second?
It was a great second. I watched a lot of Game 5.
Okay, there we go.
I was doing other things on other nights, including trick-or-treating in freezing temperatures with the aforementioned 5.5-year-olds. I think they played on that night. But you'll see, Michael. You'll see. You'll get away from it someday, and you'll go, oh, was that game on last night? And
especially with this World Series.
Well, I'll get away for it someday, and I'll be in an assisted living facility. If they don't put it on, I won't be able to watch it.
No, he's going to die in the booth. It's not going to matter.
There's going to be somebody shuffling right in front of your door at that assisted living facility. See ya!
That's right.
Yeah.
And that, unfortunately, will be the headline when I go, too. That's sad. I can't get out from under that.
No escaping that one.
The New York Post will revel in it.
You've set yourself up for that one,
Yes,
my
I
friend.
did.
But that's okay. We'll all smile when we read it. And I who knows? I mean, I don't know what the odds are on either one of us reading the other person's, obituary. We'll see.
I'm still upset that earlier in this interview, Joe used the words "our friend Phil Mushnick." I resent that remark.
I think he was being facetious, yeah.
Our friend Phil Mushnick. The headline on my New York Post app could literally be from him, "I have proof Joe Buck is the spawn of Satan." And I would not click on it.
Michael, the other day when Phil had his list of random people that he hates and included me in it, did Joe make the cut of that?
No,
or not? I don't know if
Joe did not. Ryan Rucco did. Joe didn't.
Oh, Ryan did. Yeah, Joe, you didn't make that one.
That he hated.
Yeah, people that
Yeah.
he would rather not have on this earth, I think.
Yeah, randomly, Joe, at the end of an article goes, now some people I'd rather not have on this earth, and just listed us off.
Wow.
It was insane.
I mean, we live in a great world, and that just adds right to it.
Have a great game tonight. We'll all be watching,
Joe.
Joe.
I can be on his earth for one call.
Yeah, enjoy it, Joe. You're better than me.
Enjoy that air. It's rarefied.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome.
Take it easy, Joe. That's Joe Buck.